Hey everyone, welcome back. For today's project, we'll be talking about, which is a project on gas experiment. More specifically, I'll be finding out how many grams of carbon dioxide are in this 1 liter bottle of soda. Now to do this, I'm going to use a balloon, crushed mentos, and I'll be using a ruler, and a rubber band to do some calculations. So essentially, what I'll be doing is, again, trying to find the, grams of CO2 in this, where I'll crush the mentos, put it in the balloon, and then sort of, put the balloon head on the top of the Coca-Cola bottle, and then once I've done that, see, the sort of reaction that forms as a result of that, and then use that in the balloon to find the volume of the balloon, and then then according to the ideal gas laws, use to find, the moles, and then use to find the mass in grams of the CO2. So it's definitely going to be a cool experiment that we're going to see. So stay tuned for that as we transition over to experiment. Thank you. Welcome back to the experiment portion of this. For the sake of waste, I didn't want to use the 1 liter Coca-Cola, so I just switched to something smaller. This is a 591 ml. So this is the one I'll be using instead, since after I do this, I won't be able to drink this anymore. Okay, so what I've done is I crushed some mentos and I've put it inside the balloon. So I'll put this and we're going to see the reaction. So I'm just gonna fit this in the head like so. Come on. Okay. Just try to fit this as carefully as possible. And to find the diameter, since ultimately we're trying to find the mass of the CO2 that'll be released, since I don't have a tape measure, I'll be using the rubber band instead once we see the reaction for this. And then based on this, I'll be using a ruler to get the circumference, which I'll then use to find, like the radius, and then solve the calculations for the mass. So I'm just gonna pour this in and look at that. See that? See how cool that is? Look at that. Whoa, see that? See how cool that is? So this right here, okay, and then use this. It's a bit messy. Okay, so now I'll use this to find the, so now I'll since I've attached the rubber band, I'll use that to find its diameter. So see you for the calculations. Okay, so this is the calculation for finding the mass of the CO2 released. So as you can see, I got the circumference of approximately 17.95 centimeters. And then I found the diameter, which was the circumference divided by pi, which gave me 5.72. I then used that to find the radius of 2.86. And then I found the volume of the balloon, which is a sphere. So I used V equals 4/3 pi radius cubed. So after doing that, I got a volume of 98.0 centimeter cube. So now I had to convert this to liters since we're using ideal gas law, which was approximately 0.980 liters of volume. So the ideal gas law formula states, that pressure times volume equals number of moles times the constant, which is R, times temperature. So based on this, pressure given to us was 1 atmosphere, and the volume we calculated was 0.09880 liters, and the R, which is constant, is 0.0821 liter atmosphere. And this usually changes depending on how you use it. But in this case, our pressure is atmosphere and our volume is liter, which is why we're using the constant of 0.0821. And the temperature so I used the room temperature of my home, which was about 21 degrees Celsius. So plus 273.15 Kelvin gave me a temperature of 294.15 Kelvin. After doing that, again, to find the mass of the carbon dioxide, we first need to find the number of moles of the carbon dioxide. So N is pressure times volume over constant times temperature. So after doing the calculation for that, I got 0.0046 moles of CO2. So using that, I then now found the mass, which is the mass number of moles times molecular weight. So the molecular weight of carbon dioxide, which is like the atomic mass, and I use the periodic table for this. So for carbon, it is 12.01, and for oxygen, it is 16.2. Since we have 2 oxygens, multiply that together, which is 32, and I got 44.01 grams per mole. So after that, to find my mass, I used my number of moles, which is 0.0046, times the 44.01, which gave me approximately 0.0179 grams of carbon dioxide. This basically tells us, all of this basically tells us that we have approximately 0.0179 grams of CO2 was released during the reaction, where mentos was dropped in the Coke bottle, which was then captured by the balloon. And the really cool thing about it is if you still look here, you can still sort of see it happening. So that's really cool. But thank you very much. If you've enjoyed this video, please definitely leave a like, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.